Wheels on a chair in a Screenhouse. Good afternoon, everybody. Welcome to the debut of the Screenhouse Rants. Your old host, Kabaru. It is Wednesday the 29th. It's 12:16 on the East Coast. It's next Thursday in Alderaan. And let's get to some of the things I want to talk about that we're going to see and some of the things I've posted on Facebook as of late. The first thing I want to address is I will be weaning off of Facebook. The only thing that you will see posted by me will be alerts to upcoming podcasts and the podcast. I'm going to go on and still wish people happy birthday, but the noise that's on there and the people who are on there are just tiresome. The other thing that I find that, I told one of the oldest jokes from the options trading floor. I think it dates back to the 80s. And it was along the lines of, this is the joke I told. He's a needler, he's a ball breaker, and he's got a really chubby neck. So I said to him on a post, gee, wow, you got a really big neck. Do you have to butter your neck to button up your collar to put a tie on? Which leads into the classic joke from the floor is, I don't know if I'd rather have $1 million or your neck full of quarters. Boom-ksh. It's one of the oldest jokes in the world. I think the inventor, the guy who first said that, might have been Spike, might have been Lum. I don't know who it is. If anybody's out there that's watching it knows and could put it on the comments below, please let me know. And also, once you get onto the YouTube page, subscribe, because I'm going to be weaning off this. There's going to be no more music. That'll be on on the YouTube channel. Cogs K in small letters, COGSK. And that's what I'm basically going to be focused on, as well as a couple other platforms, Twitch and some other ones as well. So the only thing you're going to see from me on Facebook are the podcasts. So I'm done with it. Too many people telling too many people what to do, how to do it, when to do it. That's not American. Everybody's allowed to have their opinion, whether you like it or you don't like it. That's why these shows that I'm going to be doing will not have any political content whatsoever. It's a waste of time. It's useless energy. And I think too many people suddenly think they're like poli-sci graduates from I don't know where. But let's move on. When it comes to sports that you're going to get from me, you're not going to get the typical radio pablum from that radio station, or some of these podcasts that are so Philadelphia-centric and just the meaning of players, fans, people, efforts. You're not going to get that. If you want to hear retreads of the same stuff you get all the time, then stay on that and listen to that stuff. But I refuse to dip my foot in that pool, and I'm going to give you clean, honest opinions. And it's not going to be, Jalen Hurts sucks, Nick Sirianni's an idiot, Joe Girardi doesn't know how to manage. While all those things might be accurate, I mean, to put so much time and energy into that kind of shit as I'm getting older, it's just not worth it. Let's just talk about some of the facts and things along those lines. So, let's talk about the Eagles. 1-2 after 3 games, and there are people ready to jump off their houses and buildings because they're 1-3. Sirianni's too smart. Jonathan Gannon doesn't know how to run a defense. Jalen Hurts. Oh, well, where's Miles Sanders? They're 1-2, people. They beat a crappy Atlanta Falcons team, and they lost to a resurgent 49er team whose defense just beat the crap out of us. I don't think last year when we beat them on Sunday Night Football, I don't think Joey Bosa played, or whatever Bosa it is. He's a beast. They have a good defense. We didn't match up well. Then Monday Night Football, Dallas Cowboys are a good team. Can't hate them. They're not a black hat team like from the 70s, 80s, or early 90s with the big three. I have no gripe. There's nobody on that team that's hateable. Dak Prescott, I just hope the kid does well. I mean, after that injury last year, I know if any of us watching this or me here, if my foot was turning around facing the other way, first I'd be crying. And second of all, I don't think I'd be playing, pitching for the Dallas Cowboys again in the NFL, and in less than 12 months. I mean, what this kid has done is nothing short of miraculous, and they got a good team. They drafted. They don't have any hateable players. Not even Micah Parsons, who I just think is getting a lot of press, which is well deserved, but so much so soon. And he didn't play last year. Look how good he is this year. Well, he took a year off. NFL, your body takes a pounding in the NFL. If you ever see any of these guys at card shows or when you're out and about, these guys can barely walk, barely lift their hands, and Monday night they didn't play well. Let's not blame it on everybody. They're 1-2. It's a new coaching system. It's a new offensive coordinator. It's a new defensive coordinator. Jalen Hurts was going into his 8th start, I believe. And now everybody's like, oh, they suck. Oh, I can't believe it. Let's tank and get the number 1 pick. Nobody even knows who the number 1 pick is going to be come, draft time. So everybody's got to slow the roll, man. Everybody's just got to slow down a little bit, because what's going to happen is, what if this team gels? And I know that's a what if, and if ifs and nuts were candy and butts, every day would be Christmas, and if the queen had balls, she'd be king. But people, I see it on Facebook, the energy that they're putting, the negative energy, it's just not good. There's so much negative bullshit out in the world since last year. Don't let a football team from the NFL, especially the home team, who's basically decimated by injuries and trying to run a new scheme on both sides of the ball, and everybody's ready to throw the whole team under the bus. While Jalen Hurts is getting a lot of crap, no pun intended, for his post-game comments, I think he's right. He played a shitty game. Eagles played a bad game. That happens in the NFL. And it's 3 games with the new coaching staff. It's going to take time to get it to go through. We're not even at the first quarter pole of a 17-game season. It's still September, for God's sake. And people are like calling for people's heads, and he should be fired. Why don't they use Miles Sanders? Blah, 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 blah. That's what you hear on things like the podcast, whatever it is, the press box or whatever, those idiots on the radio. Let's talk about injuries also. 60% of the offensive line is now on injured reserve. Who's protected? If it's like next man up is really good, but it's getting to the point where it's been next man up for the Eagles for the last 5 years. What's going on? I know they got a new doctor and a new medical staff and things along those lines. I think some of the injuries of what's going on is obviously due to a shorter preseason with only 3 games. With that money grab by the NFL and the owners to get an extra game in there so they can get extra revs. And I have no problem with that. The rich always want to get richer, and you can't blame them. I mean, it's a multi-billion-dollar venture, the NFL. And, what we need to do is there's got to be there's a reason why players are getting hurt, and it's getting hurt too often, and it seems to be the same things over and over, especially with the Eagles team. And also, let's talk about Jalen Hurts. People say, he's an RPO. He can't run. He can't throw. He couldn't get the ball out there and over there and under there. And people on Facebook and online and social media are going, oh, he can't throw the ball. 2 weeks ago, they're saying he's the MVP in the league and buying his jersey. After Monday night's game, they're ready to throw the kid under the bus. I mean, this kid played in 2 pro-style offenses in college. Alabama, Oklahoma. The kid can adapt and adjust his game. Let him. Give the kid some breath. Give this team some breath. Give them some room. Let's see if they can get better. If they do, great. If they don't, that's great too. But it's not the end of the world that they're 1-2, for Christ's sake. I mean, really. I think the Kansas City Chiefs are 1-2. I don't hear anybody in Kansas City ready to jump off a bridge, and Tyreek Hill sucks. Come on. I don't know what to do. The other thing that's really kind of on the radar that I saw that I'm really surprised isn't getting a lot more airtime is our NFL Chicago reporter. I had a conversation with some contacts with him over the weekend with Arlington Racetrack closing for good, which was one of the most beautiful racetracks in the history of time, and now closing. I mean, sadly, that industry is getting whacked. There's a good chance with this new deal that the Chicago Bears are going to be leaving Chicago proper, and they're going to build some sort of multi-kick-ass roofed dome place out there in Arlington. The McCaskies are notoriously cheap people. Notoriously cheap. I think after one of them, I don't know who's running it now. It might be Bill McClaskey, Virginia. I don't know. They're like the kind of family that still has the confirmation money under their mattress and things like that, and they want more money. And while Soldier Field is a gorgeous stadium on the lakefront, and with my time in Chicago and time traveling there to hang out with my friends, I've probably seen about 20 games at that stadium, and it's Chicago football. But there's only one thing in life: change. It's a dynamic. It just changes. There's going to be change, and the Chicago Bears probably pretty soon won't be playing in Chicago proper anymore. And I know that's going to irk a lot of my friends in Chicago, season ticket holders, and the like. But it's a story that should be getting more press because Chicago Bears are one of the oldest teams in the league, and things are changing. They're not going to change the name to the Arlington Bears. God forbid. Jesus, God, Ditka would just go beat somebody up, and he's like 95 years old. So that's basically what I got about football to this time. Let's see what other notes I have. No. Maybe. Oh, first of all, the NHL starts a month from today. I will be doing shows with fans of the Philadelphia home team. I will be doing a show with one of the biggest fans of the Pittsburgh Penguins, and we'll go over their what they're in store for this season and what the home team is for in this season. And I will also talk to a Boston apologist, a Chicago apologist, and a friend of mine that's going to be on the show. We will talk New York Rangers about that. But what you might want to do, January 28th, 2022, book it now. They are retiring Henrik Lundqvist's number. So, you know where I'll be. I might even be in the blue seats at MSG. Who knows? Alright, so that's it. That's it for hockey. And that's a blank piece of paper. Baseball. Cardinals win 17 straight. I don't think the Phillies could take 17 pitches in a row with that. Probably would miss all 17 the way they're playing. The Cardinals are hot. They're getting hot at the right time. And the Phils are getting cold at the wrong time. It's right now it looks over. 2.5 behind. They got to win the next two in Atlanta, and then they got to play Miami. I believe here. I don't even know, but their record against Miami is awful. One of the things they're inconsistent. Way too many injuries, and I know. And I mentioned that with the Eagles. It's like some sort of snake bit anymore with the Philadelphia sports teams with these injuries. I just don't understand it. They're inconsistent. They don't play defense. I mean, Bryce Harper is everything we thought he was and expected he would be, and he's not getting any help. I mean, I wonder if we need a change from McCutchen. We need a third baseman. We need a center fielder. We need a bullpen. We need a season where nobody gets hurt. And I wonder if Girardi's here next year. I hope so. I think if the team's healthy and they try to do what he wants to implement with this team, they'll be good. But doesn't look like we're going to be making the postseason this year, and it's not Bryce Harper's fault. I don't know whose fault it is. There are so many reasons why that team has underperformed. You just can't say, oh yeah, that's it. No, that's the reason why. No, that's the reason why. It's just, it's like everything's going bad. Everything. Managing, starting pitching, relief pitching, timely hitting, defense, injuries. It just doesn't stop. Let's get to the NCAA football. First thing I would like to say is early nomination for Play of the Year. Oklahoma, Nebraska? One-handed interception in the second quarter. Tom Crowley was there. He had a spidey sense kind of thing, thinking that something was going to happen, and he was absolutely right, and he has it on tape. If you know Tom, check that out. I will post that play after I'm done with this. It's an unbelievable play. One-handed interception. Killer move. I don't see a better college football play anymore the rest of the year, but we'll have to see how that goes. The top 10, they're all shook up. I mean, Clemson's, 25? And people on the mothership are saying things like, oh, Clemson's done. Paul Feinbaum. Oh, they're done. They're terrible. Oh, they had a nice run. It's coming off of last year and this year. Everything's shorter. It's been different. Are they going to be in the championship Final Four at the end of the season? No. Does the ACC hurt? Being in the ACC hurt them? Yeah. I mean, it's the SEC and everybody else. And, the top 10, I mean, who would have figured that Penn State would be last year? They were a marginal team, if not bad team. And they're 4-0 and they're 4th in the country. Oregon, 3rd place. And then, the usuals. Alabama is just good. And, nothing really matters until the FBS comes out, which I believe comes out November 2nd, maybe? I don't know. I don't think college football starts till the second week of October, because most of the games that are early on are filler games. There's going to be, you'll see pretty soon, they're going to shake out some of these pretenders. And some of the people that are really good, and some people are just not that good. Not as good as their record say. And then there's going to be teams that are not as bad as their record says right now. So things will change. My team, sadly, sucks. I was not thinking they were going to be as bad as they were this year. I thought that the Eric King would come back. I don't necessarily know if he's coming back properly. He seems to still have knee issues. The defense isn't stout. Although Charleston Rambo is a keeper. He's going to be a first-round draft pick, a wide receiver from Miami. But he's basically their only bright spot. The rest of the team basically sucks. And as far as Gump says, that's all I got to say about that. Now, let's get to something that we all can get into and get our arms around. Let's talk about some entertainment. I know I had mentioned some shows to watch, and I got some new ones coming up. First of all, Stranger Things Season 4, their second trailer dropped on Sunday. The Creel House. Robert Englund, Freddy Krueger will be in Season 4 of Stranger Things. It's going to be creepier. It's going to be darker. I don't think it's going to be as sci-fi as Seasons 1, 2, and 3. But if you get a chance, go on YouTube, check out the trailer for the Creel House. It's creepy as shit and just looks great. The Lost Symbol on Peacock, all you Dan Brown fans, of which I am one. The first 2 episodes were above average. Eddie Izzard is really good. Adrian Zuckerman as a younger Robert Langdon is great. It's a cast of like kind of nobodies, which makes it even better because you don't want to get somebody like some of these ones that were on the big screen that Ron Howard directed and produced would imagine They kind of got a little bit too big for their britches there for a while, and now they're doing like kind of a. I don't think they'll do a redo of the Da Vinci Code or Angels and Demons or Origin. But there will be a new Dan Brown book coming out. I follow him, and I think it'll be coming out spring of 2022, and it will be a Robert Langdon thriller. Now, for those of you who are Netflix fans, Outer Banks. It's a hidden gem. It was their most watched TV show in 2020, and it is kind of like the Goonies meet the Sandlot, meet the Da Vinci Code, meet Pirates of the Caribbean. It's the Pogues. It's the haves versus the have-nots, and it's really good. Joan and I just finished season 2. It's been out 2 seasons, 10 episodes a season. It's really good. It gets you and it reels you in, and it's just mindless, fun watching. I mean, you'll get into it. You don't really have to pay attention, but you do have to pay attention. But it's a really good show, and it's got a great cast, and the storyline just gets better and better. And I'm looking forward to season 3. Now, when it comes to music, I know the last time I was on here, I was ranting and raving about Tedeschi Trucks and their cover album of Layla and assorted other love songs. I've been basically playing that to death on the system in the studio while I'm going through some stuff for the podcast. But one of the other things that I've really been paying attention to since it happened on Saturday night was Farm Aid. Lucas Nelson in The Promise of the Real with his brother Micah, when they come, go see them. For those who really don't really know who they are, they were Jackson Maine's backup band in The Stars Born with Bradley Cooper and Lady Gaga. Lucas Nelson is starting to look like his dad. He sounds exactly like him. He's got a great voice. Look up on YouTube maybe their cover of Pearl Jam's Just Breathe with Willie and Lucas in a old school VW Bug. And if you don't know the song Just Breathe by Pearl Jam, it might be one of their best songs, and the version that they do is top shelf. Joan and I caught the last hour and a half of the show Saturday that just passed from the Xfinity Center in New Haven, Connecticut, and Willie was in typical Willie form. You know, when I die, roll me up and smoke me. Always on my mind. To all the girls I loved before. All the usual Willie Nelson hits are too many to mention, but if you get a chance to watch it, go to YouTube, go to the Farm Aid page, and just get to see the whole set that closed out the show. One of the other highlights of that show was Nathaniel Rateliff and the Night Sweats, of Son of a Bitch, Give Me a Drink fame. He has such a killer voice, and their music has evolved to get much better, but they also like to do a nod to old school stuff. And one of the songs they do during every concert is one of the most underrated rock songs in the history of the genre, The Shape I'm In by the band. And they did it Saturday night with Lucas Nelson, and go on YouTube, look it up. It's great. And if you don't know about the band, there's the movie, the classic Martin Scorsese documentary of their last concert called The Last Waltz, which is from the night before Thanksgiving, I think in 1977. It is a gem of a show and movie, and it really shows you music at a different time and what it was like. That means that just the people that played with the band at that show, it's just unbelievable. And just so everybody who don't really understand who the band is, they were Bob Dylan's backup band from 68 through Blood on the Tracks, maybe? I'm not too sure. If anybody can tell me about that, that's great. But I am telling you, Robbie Robertson, Levon Helm, I mean, Ophelia, the night they drove Old Dixie down, the shape I'm in, the weight, there's not much more you can say about that. So, I'm glad everybody could come in and join me for this little half-hour gigadoo with the debut of the Screenhouse Rants. I hope everybody has a feeling of why I'm starting to wean myself off Facebook. It's just, I'm getting older, and I got 99 problems, and I don't want Facebook to be one of them. So I'm going to do what I do. The podcast's going to be coming fast and furious from this way out. I know that I mentioned there will be some people on. They're still on the docket to be guests. I have to work out some of those technical difficulties. In the meantime, it's just going to be me looking into this camera right there and basically giving my opinion on what's going on. I'm not too high, not too low. My highs and lows are more towards music and entertainment anymore. I'm just going through the motions with my sports teams. I'm not going to let it consume me like it used to do in the past. But I'm due for a good year from somebody, for God's sake, somebody. Maybe the Hoyas with their 5-star signing. I think his name is Namir Muhammad, Ryan Mutombo. Hopefully the Hoyas will have a good team this year. But that's all I'm going to say about that. Listen, everybody, stay safe, be good, and as per usual, laissez les bon temps rouler, let the good time roll. Everybody, thanks for watching. See you later. Be kind to everybody. Sirloin, I'm going to roll out of the picture. Woo!